Let's go.
Oh yeah. Time for the Moors to stand up. Stand up. We've been in the background too long.
Get on your square, boy.
It's a new day for the Moors today. To Harker Bay.
Islam.
Get at me.
Islam, family. First and foremost, I rise giving praise to the great God of the universe, Allah. Absolutely, Allah. You can call him by any name you want to. But he's the cause and the root from which all things have grown. That's right. Call it what you want. Allah. Yeah. Peace and love, family. I give honor to our noble, illustrious prophet, Prophet Noble Drew Ali. If it wasn't for him, there'd be no me. And if it was a me, I wouldn't be the me that you see. I would be somewhere else doing something else, destroying something. So we're going to honor the prophet for that. Secondly, we want to give honor to the forerunner. If you don't know what a forerunner is, let me tell you. A forerunner is one that prepares the way for what is to come. Marcus Garvey. We're in the Moorish Science Temple of America. We subscribe to the fact that Marcus Garvey prepared the minds of the people. He cultivated the minds of the people, planted the seeds in the mind of the people of one aim, one destiny, one God. Where's our flag? Where's our great people? Where's our country? Where's our statesmen? Yeah, these are the things that Marcus Garvey said. We give honor to Brother Marcus Garvey because he set the tone so Prophet Noble Drew Ali could be properly introduced, so it'd be easier for us to receive. And 103 years later, over 100 years later, depending on where we count from, we still have a problem with receiving. But Marcus Garvey do honor because he did his part. Prophet Noble Drew Ali do honor because he did his part, both by the will of Allah. Marcus Garvey is divine. The divine Marcus Garvey. We're not making him divine because we like him. We're making him divine because what he did was divine. We was a lost people. We had lost hope. He built the hope back up in us. We was beat down, downtrodden. We ain't know no way out of the mental slavery that has wrapped around our head. And Marcus Garvey came with the ideal of nationalism, the ideal of self-pride, race pride. Basically, Marcus Garvey was the one, the first one that say, up, 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 you mighty nation. You can accomplish what you will. Let me explain this. Marcus Garvey say, up, up, you mighty nation. Listen to this. Up, up, you mighty nation. Who came back behind Marcus Garvey and talk about nation building? I'll wait. You want me to wait? I'm going to look in the chat. I'll wait. I'll wait. Did anybody come after Marcus Garvey with nation building like the Prophet Noble Drew Ali did? I'll wait. And when I say nation building, I'm not talking about nation by name. I'm talking about nation by construct. I'll wait. When I talk about nation building, I'm talking about nation building by the root word, nationality. I'll wait. I'll wait. Anybody? Crickets again. Here we go. Crickets again. Crickets again. Prophet Noble Drew Ali came with all the elements of nation building. Up, up, you mighty race. Up, up, you mighty race. You can accomplish what you will. Where's your flag? Huh? That's what Marcus Garvey asked. Where's your flag? Where's your statesmen? Where's your great people? Where you at? Where's your country? Huh? Where's that? I'll wait. I'll wait. And we got crickets again. So that's where we at today. What we here today? What we gonna do here today? As they say, yeah, people don't like to talk about the Bible. But we ain't got no problem with it. Because we don't have no fear of anything. And if you want to put fear in the context of the fear of Allah means reverence, okay, we fear Allah. But doctrines, ideology, we have no fear of that. So we don't talk about the Bible. The Bible says separate the wheat from the chaff. You know what the wheat and the chaff is? The wheat is what you can use, the chaff you can't use. That's what we're going to do today. We're going to beat them. There was a thing they used to do. They used to beat it out and then throw the stalks away. So that's what we're going to do today. We're going to separate the wheat from the chaff. What we going to do, and we're going to show and prove that the RBG, the red, the black, and the green that Marcus Garvey brought to our people was a prelude to what's to come. We're going to show that there's a principle that come with subscribing to the red, the black, and the green. That there's a way of life that comes with subscribing. There's a code of conduct that comes with subscribing to the red, the black, the green. And not only that, there's also a history that comes with it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. Let's talk about it. So we're going to talk about that today. This show, Moorish World TV, has never been and never will be an aggressor or towards anybody. So get that out your head. But one thing Moorish World will do, will aggressively demonstrate the truth. Aggressively demonstrate the truth. Hopefully, you'll be able to receive it, go through it, learn something, or leave it alone. Our job here on Moorish World TV is to give you the opportunity to learn something from a different perspective. Because every time we look on YouTube, Facebook, or wherever, we see people that say they represent RBG, and then we know what Prophet Noble Drew Ali has taught us. We know what Marcus Garvey has taught us. And then we say, hold up, do this go together? Do it really go together? I'm revolutionary, but I'm a gangster. Do it really go together? I don't know. Anyway, with that being said, let me welcome my brothers in the chat. First up, let me welcome my brother straight from New York, my brother Ali Bey. Ali Bey, are you there, my brother? Introduce yourself and let's talk about it a little bit, my brother. How you doing, my brother?
Islam, brother. I'm here. I'm here.
Islam, my brother. I thought I wanted to give a little brief introduction of where we're going today. But as I tell everybody, brother, this is not a bashing type of show. So if somebody tuned in to think we're going to bash somebody that got something wrong. But nevertheless, we are going to demonstrate the truth aggressively. Period, point blank. Just the truth. No personal attacks, just the truth. So my brother, invite yourself into the chat. Tell the people who you are, where you from, and let's roll. Let's go, brother.
Islam, this is Ali Bey calling from Harlem, New York. member of Ali's Men, researcher, and here on Moorish World to get it in with you brothers tonight. We're going to talk about the red, the black, and the green.
Praise the Lord. And with that, my brother next up is my brother to the L coming to the chat. Hold on. Let me turn my camera on. Hold on. This is a brother that y'all don't see often. But y'all be asking for this brother. And don't front, family. Where's Tuda KL? Don't front. Y'all be asking for the brother. Well, here he is today. My brother Tuda KL coming to the chat, brother. Tell him where you from. And let's move it and get this show on the road, brother.
Islam, all right. Islam, all. Yes, sir. Of course, I rise giving all praise due to Allah, the causeless cause and the rootless root. I give the highest honors to his holy and divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali. Give honors to the forerunner of the prophet, Marcus Mosiah Garvey. And I know some of y'all have issues with us referring to Marcus Garvey as the forerunner of Noble Drew Ali, but we'll address a little bit of that as well. I give honors to the Grand Staff, Supreme Staff, local temples, all things pertaining to Islamism. Honors to Moorish World TV and your audience. Islam, more.
And let's keep it moving right along with my brother from the bottom of the map. And that brother from the bottom of the map, both of them from the bottom of the map. My brother Grimmy Ardell, come on in the chat, brother. How you doing? Oh, you're there.
Islam.
Islam more.
Oh, praise Almighty God a lot more. I rise giving honor and praise first to Allah and honors to his holy and divine prophet, Noble Drew Ali, last prophet in these days and times. Y'all gonna have to excuse me, brother man, and I'm on duty today, so y'all might hear a lot of background noise. So I'm gonna keep muted as much as I possibly can. More. So peace and love.
Peace and love. See, this is what we do on Moorish World TV. We are so dedicated. This is Moorish Americans. We are so dedicated. My brother is at work right now. You know what I mean? My brother at work right now. Yeah. Some of us work in the day, some of us work at night, some of us just work. We just get to that. And I'm going to tell you something. Don't be disrespectful to Moors, because it'll be the same one you're looking when you're in trouble to pull you up out some stuff. Literally, pull you up out some hot situations. Praise the Lord. So my brother Ali Bey, let's start this off like this. Let's start this off like this, my brother. What I want to do first is, as we go into the dialogue about the red, the black, and the green, before it gets to Marcus Garvey, where do we find the red, the black, and the green on earth? Can you touch on that for me, my brother?
Well, Islam, where you find it first is in Africa.
That's right.
All right. Let me just, in order to get to the origin of the flag of Marcus Garvey's UNIA movement, it seems apparent that we're going to have to look to Sudan of the 1800s. I'll preface it by saying this. I'm a former member of the Ansar Allah community, which was located out in Brooklyn, Bushwick, Brooklyn, and we went back in the 1980s, early 90s, myself and my brother. Now, the community itself goes back further than that, but it was in the 80s that we attended the classes there. It was there that we took the Shahada of Islam and declared the oneness of Allah and that Muhammad was his messenger. So in so doing, I adopted the name Abdullah Muhammad, as well as the flag of the Ansar Allah community. So for some time, all right, for some people, excuse me, the knowledge of this flag may be new, but during this time period, through the teachings of Imam Isa, that's when we first came to the knowledge of the black, red, and green flag of the Makdis Sudan. I turned it over for you. Also, it was Imam Isa who I first heard posit that the flag of the UNIA was in fact an adaptation of the flag of the Mahdiya. Just to go further, this was an Islamic nationalist flag first used by the Mahdiya of the Sudan as they fought against the British Egyptian domination, and was adopted here as the flag of the Ansar Allah community. And the image of it was published in many pamphlets, worn by many of us on our clothing, rings, pendants, lapel pins, etc. They're like, you will be able to see there are 2 to 3 variations of this particular flag. One is with the spear and the crescent in the upper right-hand corner. One of them is with the spear and the crescent in the center of the flag. In terms of the color scheme, it is laid out with the black at the top, the red in the middle, and the green at the bottom. Then there is also another flag with the black at the top, the green in the middle, and the red at the bottom. Black, green, and red. Just to give some background on what was going on in the Sudan during the 1800s, I'm going to read a short abstract from an article published in the Encyclopedia of War entitled Mahdist War, 1881 to 1899 by Timothy Stapleton. This was published in 2001. And this is what it reads. Within the context of Islam, the Mahdi means the guided one, and it is a person chosen by God to restore the community to its pure form as it was during the days of the Prophet Muhammad. Under the modernizing rule of Muhammad Ali, Egypt conquered Sudan in the 1820s and 30s in a futile effort to acquire military conscripts and gold. The Egyptians imposed a westernized state that taxed the Sudanese and sent their agricultural and other products north. Sudanese frustrations were increased in the 1860s and 70s with the start of an Egyptian anti-slavery campaign that threatened the local economic interests and brought Christian Europeans into this Muslim country. Now, on June 29, 1881, Muhammad Ahmad, an increasingly popular Sudanese religious leader, proclaimed himself the Mahdi and organized an army for a holy war against Egyptian occupation. Political turmoil in Egypt itself meant that the Egyptians failed to control the rebellion and more followers joined the Mahdi. The first major victory for the Mahdi occurred in 1882 when his supporters captured the Egyptian military base of El Obeid, west of the Nile. Although Mahdi's forces initially tried to storm the fort and were cut down by breech-loading rifles, they eventually undertook a successful siege. This is important. As a result of this lesson, the Mahdi formed part of his army into a near-professional infantry corps equipped with firearms. The British occupied Egypt in 1882 to secure the Suez Canal as a vital choke point for shipping to and from India. Now, we know from the time of Mehmed II, they were looking to get back into India and to reestablish that route. In November of 1883, an Egyptian force of 8,500 soldiers under British Colonel William Hicks, complete with artillery and early machine guns like the Nordenfeldt, invaded the Sudan to suppress the rebellion. Letting Hicks's expedition advance in order for harsh desert conditions to take their toll, Mahdist eventually surrounded and annihilated them with firepower at the Battle of Shekan. Can you bring that down a little bit for me? Thank you. The British then decided to pull out of the Sudan in early 1884, sent Charles Gordon, former governor of part of South Sudan, to organize the withdrawal. However, Gordon was not committed to the British government's plan, and he delayed long enough to be trapped in Khartoum by the Mahdist forces. Around the same time, Sudanese leader Osman Digna led a rebellion against the Egyptian rule in the eastern region of Suakin. A British column under General Gerald Graham pushed back the rebels at the hard-fought battles of El Teb and Tamai, but then was ordered to withdraw. A British relief expedition led by Garnet Wolseley failed to break through the Khartoum in time, and Gordon was killed when the Mahdists stormed the city in January of 1885. Mahdi died in June of 1885. The Mahdist state, they had formed a state, had been established with its capital a few miles from Khartoum at Omdurman. Now, the official website of the UNIA, under the history of their red, black, and green color scheme flag, they offer that they acknowledge the prior use of this flag in Africa when they state, quote, variations of the flag can and have been used in various countries and territories in Africa and the Americas to represent Pan-Africanism ideology. This is on the UNIA's official website. Now, from an article entitled 8 Things About the Black Liberation Flag You May Not Know, published in AtlantaBlackStar.com, this was in 2015, it states the Universal Negro Improvement Association and African Communities League. The flag was developed in the 1920s by the UNIA and with the support of Marcus Garvey as a response to a racially derogatory song, the ridiculously popular 1900s song, Every Race Has a Flag But the Coon. They adopted this particular flag. In comes Deuce Muhammad Ali. Before this, but I'm going to start talking about Deuce Muhammad Ali because this is an important part in terms of the influence. Reading from his biography entitled Deuce Muhammad Ali and the Development of Pan-Africanism from 1866 to 1945, Edinburgh University. It says Deuce Muhammad Ali was the son of an Egyptian father and Sudanese mother, produced an article. This article was entitled Quo Vadis, which was published in the New Age publication February 23rd, 1911. This article and his conclusion of In the Land of the Pharaohs taken together provide valuable information on Deuce Muhammad Ali's political thinking, and a little before launching the explicitly Pan-Afro-Asian African Times and Orient Review in 1912, about 18 months later. Quo Vadis was more explicit and emphatic than the Land of the Pharaohs. It concluded from his survey of the world that whether therefore we look east, west, north, or south, the man of dark skin is being oppressed. The Anglo-Saxon rules dark races by force, and force is the only argument he's capable of understanding. But where was the force that would shake the Anglo-Saxons, who Deuce made clear in this context included the Americans to come from? As in the Land of the Pharaohs, the potential threat of Japan to the British Empire and India is prophesied, but at least 3 other areas of challenge to Anglo-Saxon domination are considered. Firstly, in a strongly Blydenite vein. In other words, in the same vein as Edward Wilmot Blyden, who also have very strong Islamic leanings. In a strongly Blydenite vein, Deuce Muhammad Ali noted the spread of Islam in Africa at the expense not only of paganism, but also Christianity, which he called Christianity the bringer of drunkenness and aggression. But like Blyden, Deuce Muhammad Ali showed a somewhat equivocal attitude to non-Islamic African cultures. He primarily tells us that Islam appeals with greater force to the natural instincts of primitive man and rights of savage tribes. More positively, he saw Islam as a unifying force which will move this vast population as one man. But Deuce Muhammad Ali went beyond Blyden's views of the role of Islam in Africa when he envisaged an Islamic-inspired Pan-African armed struggle against imperialist oppression. These inhabitants of Africa are for the most part warrior races, and the Christian aggression with its land-grabbing propensities, whereby the native is deprived of his lands and subsequently pressed into a state of compound semi-slavery, will indubitably result in a war of extermination. Negroes may fall, but others will be ready to take their places, dying gladly under the banner of the Prophet. This is Deuce Muhammad Ali. The intelligent black men of the African towns will be swept into the vortex of race hatred, which the Europeans are creating for themselves. The Negroes of Haiti under Toussaint were less superior intellectually and martially than their brethren in the interior of Africa. He's referring to the Sudan. What a people has once accomplished, they can achieve again. And it must not be overlooked that the vast Mohammedan black population includes the tried Sudanese and Somali troops who possess some knowledge of their business. Thus, we find that as early as 1911, Deuce Muhammad Ali was able to envisage a Muslim-led Haiti-style final solution of the white problem in Africa and abroad. At this time, he was not a believing Muslim, even attended churches, but one can clearly see the political appeal to him of Islam as a black man's religion. This passage has other points of interest. It shows not only a patriotic pride in the formidable, listen to this, it shows not only a patriotic pride in the formidable fighting qualities of the Sudanese Ansar, not so discernible in the land of the pharaohs, but also an awareness of events in Somalia, presumably the exploits of the Mad Mullah, as the British press persisted in calling him. In 1912, Deuce Muhammad Ali launched the African Times and Orient Review. Marcus Garvey worked on the paper between 1912 and 1913 and was heavily influenced by Ali. Deuce Muhammad Ali went on to join the UNIA. Now, I'm not going to go too far with this, but because I know Grimion L has something to add on this particular piece. The national anthem of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, to be sung at all occasions. I'm just going to read the first 3 verses. Ethiopia, you land of our fathers, you land where the gods love to be. As storm cloud at night sudden gathers, our armies come rushing to thee. Shall we in the fight be victorious when swords are thrust outward to gleam? For us will the victory be glorious when led by the red, black, and green. Advance, advance to victory. Let Africa be free. Advance to meet the foe with the might of the red, the black, and the green. This is the flag of the Ansars. This is the flag of the Mahdi in Sudan. And this is what they're singing about in the national anthem of the UNIA. With that, I yield.
Islam. Brother Tunica L, do you have anything you want to add to that before we go into the next topic? I know Grimion L might want to add on to something like that. How about you, my brother Tunica L? Are you there, my brother? Brother Grimion L, are you there?
Islam, brother man.
Would you like to add on anything that the brother talked about as it relates to the red, the black, and the green, the history of it?
Oh, Islam. I'm pretty sure the brothers touched on it. I missed out on a lot. I don't want to repeat what they were saying. Well, you know, I don't want to double up on what they were saying, but I don't want to get too far ahead of myself. But basically, you know, for all intents and purposes, the Honorable Marcus Mosiah Garvey was influenced by Brother Deuce Muhammad, or many know as Brother Deuce Muhammad Ali, as he went into to London to learn journalism and other things from that brother. You know, he joined on to Deuce Muhammad Ali's platform, and that's where Marcus Garvey, you know, received certain symbolism, if you will, from brother Deuce Muhammad Ali, like sayings like one God, one aim, one destiny. You know, that came from the actual philosophy of Deuce Muhammad Ali, Bey of Fendi. And you know, with that being said, if you can go back and find that's why I regret that I'm not at home today, but you can go back and find some of the copies of the African Times and Orient Review where it says one God, one aim, or one destiny. And I think Garvey you know, for the most part changed it very little, but the whole one God aim comes from Deuce Muhammad Ali, by the way, which was a fez wearing Muslim, if you will. So you know, with that being said, brother man, I just like to you know, take the time to actually look at something else and to basically share that with you all, this information. And this book comes from Islam in the African American experience. For all my anti-Islamic RBG brothers, which they use RBG for red, black, and green. And this is from page 1 second. This is from page 80 or 68 of that record. And I just want to read closely at how Islam affected the early followers of Marcus Garvey. And this was basically due to Deuce Muhammad Ali's influence. And please, brother, feel free to stop me if I'm touching on something that you already touched on,
Oh no,
or the
brother,
brothers
come on
already
with it,
touched
bro.
on.
Come on with it.
Oh, praise Allah. So in this book, in Islam and the African American experience, it talks about the
More.
the
Let me just say this real quick. As you make your reference to your book or what you're reading from, please say it once, twice, and 3 times. Because one thing we not gonna have is, I heard a brother in on Facebook say, make sure y'all have references. Now we know we always have references, and I say 80% of our show is based on references. Now everybody in the chat gonna have to get a pen and paper. But I'm asking the panel members, when we give a reference, we're going to give it 1 in the beginning, 2 in the middle, and hopefully in the end. But at least 2 times we're going to give this reference because we want you to take something away with this. But with that carried away, my brother, it's on you.
Islam, boy, they don't get a Moors a break, huh?
Oh, no, boy. They be on me on Facebook. Make sure you have references. As if the Moors ain't holding up books every time we on the show. But anyway, that's
right.
We can't do what Brother Larry did. We can't do that kind of stuff.
Right. We can't freestyle. But anyway, this book is Islam and the African American experience. And I'm gonna read on page 88 where it talks about the Islamic terminology and symbolism used by the early followers of the UNIA for all our RBG brothers. It says the appropriation of Islamic reference by Garveyism was articulated in the rhetoric of the UNIA. First, the religion became a part of the language of the UNIA, as some black publications during this period couched the need for black leadership in Islamic terms. A March 1917 editorial, Champion magazine affirmed, quote unquote, the Negro is crying for Muhammad to come forth and give him the Quran of economic and intellectual welfare. Where is he? Meanwhile, the journalist for the Negro World compared Garvey to the Prophet Muhammad. Now, this ain't nothing that I'm making up. This is coming out of the archives of the UNIA that this brother is quoting from, where those people, those red, black, and green people, the first people in America to use the red, black, and green flag, like Brother Ali compared basically to the Mahdiist movement from the far reaches of the Sudan. And by the way, if it hadn't already been mentioned, Deuce Muhammad Ali mother was a descendant of the people of the Sudan, and
brother, you went out on me.
But I'll say this while he went out.
Oh, here you go.
Go ahead.
Yeah, he's Allah. So with that being said, Marcus Garvey made a comparison in the Negro world, and it says that
Premier, hold on 1 second, because you're breaking up. But I just wanted to make clear one of the things that you said. Deuce Muhammad Ali's mother, and I said it earlier, but you repeated it, I'm going to say it again. Deuce Muhammad Ali's mother was a Sudanese, And even just to add on a little bit to that, when the Makdis War broke out between Makdia and Egypt, his mother was sent back into Sudan because I believe they were living in Egypt at the time with the father, who was a member of the Egyptian army. But they sent the mother and his sisters back to the Sudan for protection. So I just wanted to say that about Deuce Muhammad Ali's mother. But go ahead, bro.
Islam, praise Almighty God Allah for that. And you know, so basically going back into this record, did you all hear where they compared Marcus Garvey to
Yes.
to the Prophet of Allah? Okay, so it goes on to say another writer called Garvey a child of Allah, and Garvey himself evidently agreed, comparing himself to the Prophet Muhammad in one of his speeches. He said Muhammad suffered many defeats at certain times, quote unquote. Uh, he said, but Muhammad stuck to his faith and ultimately triumphed, and Mohammedanism was given to the world. And as Muhammad did in the religious world, so in the political arena, we have had men who have paid the price for leading the people toward the great light of liberty. And you know, I don't have the ability to screen share right now, but you know, I want everybody to look up this individual by the name of Arnold Josiah Ford, or AJ Ford. And this particular individual was a member, like a really talented.
You're breaking up. You're breaking up real bad, my brother.
Repeat
I'm
it,
sorry.
bro. Repeat it. Repeat what you said about Ford.
Arnold Josiah Ford, and he was the musical director of the UNIA. So with that being said, this brother Arnold Josiah Ford is the author of the
Breaking up real bad, my brother.
Inside.
Arnold Josiah Ford is the author of what, brother?
He's the author of the Ethiopian anthem. Am I breaking up on you?
You're breaking up real bad, my brother. Real bad. But you said that he's the author of the Universal Ethiopian Anthem? Is that what you said? I can't hear nothing now. But with my brother Tunica Ill, are you there, my brother? Are you there, my brother?
Yeah, I think he was saying.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
I'm sorry. Go ahead, bro. My bad.
Yeah. So we're gonna let my brother we're gonna let my brother Grimion Hill to get his mic thing together. But if you are aware, we're working our way up now. We're working our way up now to the foundations of Marcus Garvey acquiring or being inspired by Deuce Muhammad, the red, the black, the green, and we're like right there. But brother, you can take it wherever you want to take it, because I got something to say when it comes back around to me. So come on, brother, the floor is yours.
Islam. There's a couple of places I can take it, but being that the brothers laid that particular foundation, I'm going to pick it up in the 20s, where an aspect of Garvey's inspiration that hasn't been hit yet. We hit the Mahdi, we hit Deuce Muhammad Ali, and brothers have done an excellent job right there, dropping bombs and you know what I'm saying, serving jewels for the people as far as that's concerned, even if ones may not realize that at this point. Once they go back and follow the path of the research, they'll see that those were very profound measures that both of the brethren, Brother Gramillion Ill and Brother Ali Bey dropped. Now, having said that, the other major influence on Marcus Garvey was none other than Booker T. Washington. Now, you know, I saw a post by one brother where he was comparing the two, and Booker T was presented as some type of sellout, and he was juxtaposed against Marcus Garvey, not understanding that Marcus Garvey was influenced by Booker T. Washington. And Booker T. Washington, that's a whole nother story, but I just want to make that point. And I'm going to be quoting from my brethren's book. Try to pull it up here. Brother A. Hopkins Bay, he wrote a book called Marcus Mosiah Garvey, Forerunner of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Very controversial title in a lot of circles. But let's go from this book on page 10. Can you see it, Mose?
Islam.
Yep.
Islam. Now the book, Brother Hopkins Bay is quoting from another book, which we consider pretty contemporary with Garvey, and it's the autobiography of Marcus Garvey that appeared in Current History magazine, September 1923. Autobiography of Marcus Garvey that appeared in Current History magazine, 1923. And I'm quoting on the book. Let's start where he says, while in London, the Almighty God Allah guided Marcus Garvey to read a book entitled Up from Slavery by Booker T. Washington. It was this work that exacted his attention towards America, right? Marcus Garvey stated, I read The Conditions of America. I read, quote, Up from Slavery by Booker T. Washington, and then my doom, if I may so call it, of being a race leader dawned upon me in London after I had traveled through almost half of Europe. So once he read Up from Slavery, he said the doom of being a race leader came down upon him when he was in London. So it was Booker T's book that crystallized for Marcus Mosiah Garvey what his purpose was in life. Islam. He said, I asked, where's the so-called black man's government? Well, Brother Hopkins Bay inserted so-called. Where's the black man's government? Where's his king and his kingdom? Where's his president, his country, and his ambassador, his army, his navy, his men of big affairs? I could find them not. And then I declared, I will help to make them. I got in touch with Booker T. Washington and told him that told him what I wanted to do. I got in touch with Booker T. Washington and told him what I wanted to do. He invited me to America and promised to speak with me in the Southern and other states to help my work. Although he died in 1915, I made my arrangements and arrived in the United States of America, March 23rd, 1916.
Islam.
So Booker T passed form before Marcus Garvey could arrive, but his sole purpose for coming to America was to meet with Booker T. Washington. He held him in that high of esteem. Booker T's book, Up from Slavery, inspired him to become this great race leader. That's very significant, right? And we already know there's a passage in Up from Slavery where Booker T speaks of this commotion at this hotel he was at, where this very dark-hued brother walked through, and all the Europeans was bugging because they like, why is this Negro walking through the front of the hotel? But they say after some investigation, Booker T said that it was found that this brother was a Moroccan citizen. And once they figured that out, all was well, everybody chilled. That's a whole nother point, but moving right along.
Wow.
And then he said the Moroccan, he said he would not speak English no more after that. He just spit Arabic for the rest of his stay in America after that, because he didn't want to be confused with the American Negro. And he was very dark skinned. He's very dark.
Right.
Here I found a new and different problem. This is Marcus Garvey speaking. I immediately visited some of the then so-called Negro leaders, only to discover, after a close study of them, that they had no program, but were more opportunists who were living off of their so-called leadership while the poor people were groping in the dark. I traveled through 38 states and found the same condition everywhere. I visited Tuskegee and paid my respects to the dead hero, Booker T. Washington, and then returned to New York, where I organized the New York division of the Universal Negro Improvement Association. So he went on a sort of pilgrimage to Tuskegee, Alabama, which is where Booker T founded the famous Tuskegee Institute. Marcus Garvey took a type of pilgrimage there to pay his respects to his hero, Booker T. Washington. That's rarely ever brought out in the history and story of Marcus Garvey, because people have this erroneous perception of Booker T as a Tom, not knowing Booker T did know how to talk them Europeans out their money, but what he did with the money was very nationalistic principles, in that he was about building your own institutions, building your wealth, and then entering the political game from a position of power and not a position of begging. And he also financed many programs and things behind the scenes that you will have to consult Booker T's papers, his personal papers, to get access to. So don't sleep on Booker T is my point as far as that's concerned.
No doubt.
Islam.
After instructing the people in the aims and objects of the association, Garvey, I intended returning to Jamaica to perfect the Jamaica organization. But when we had rolled about 800 or 1,000 members in the Harlem district and had elected the officers, a few Negro politicians tried to turn the movement into a political club. Seeing that these politicians were about to destroy my ideals, I had to fight to get them out of the organization. Then it was that I made my first political enemies in Harlem. They fought me until they smashed the first organization and reduced its membership to about 50. I started again, and in 2 months built up a new organization of about 1,500 members. Again, the politicians came and divided us into two factions. They took away all the books of the organization, its treasury, and all its belongings. There they then sprang up two factions, one led by the politicians with the books and the money, and the other led by me. My faction had no money. I placed at their disposal what money I had, opened an office for them, rented a meeting place, employed two women secretaries, went on the street of Harlem at night to speak for the movement. In 3 weeks, more than 2,000 members joined. By this time, I had the association incorporated so as to prevent the other faction using the name. But in 2 weeks, the politicians had stolen all the people's money and had smashed up their faction. I started the Negro World, right? Being a journalist, I edited this paper for free of cost for the association and worked for them without pay until November 1920th. I traveled all over the country for the association at my own expense. By my writings and speeches, we were able to build up a large organization of over 2 million by June 1919, at which time we launched the program of the Black Star Line. June 27, 1919, we incorporated the Black Star Line of Delaware, and in September, we obtained a ship. Several hundred thousands worth of shares were sold. Our first ship, the steamship Yarmouth, had made 3 voyages to the West Indies and Central America. By August 1920, over 4 million persons had joined the movement. A convention was called to meet in New York that month. Over 25,000 persons packed the Madison Square Garden on August the 1st to hear me speak. Islam. So,
Yeah, man.
that's Marcus Garvey.
Yes.
That's what he built. That's the struggle he went through in establishing the UNIA and demonstrating these principles of nationality for the masses, for the multitude. And we're going to show how his yearning for this Muhammad, his yearning for a structure that laid the foundation for our people's own government, it became manifested in the program demonstrated by the Prophet Noble Drew Ali. And ones may say, but it wasn't on the scale of 4 million members.
Right.
No, it wasn't on the scale, but it's only a matter of degrees. He demonstrated it. He demonstrated the model fully, even though it was on a much smaller scale in relationship to what Garvey built in the UNIA, right? South Sudan is one of the smallest nationalities and nations on the earth, but it is a nation nevertheless. So it's not about necessarily the number count, but it's the principles and fulfilling the tenets of what a nationality is that makes the nation.
Islam, Mo, can you repeat that book one more time? The name of the book.
The name of the book that I'm quoting from is Marcus Mosiah Garvey, forerunner of the Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Okay. Praise
And
the Lord.
he was quoting from the autobiography of Marcus Garvey that appeared in Current, Current, History Magazine, September 1923.
Y'all get that? Now, you good, my brother? Everybody good?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Right. Because what you just did was you just opened the door to where I'm about to go in a minute. But I want y'all to share this, because now, as we laid the groundwork and the framework as to where we at, what we did is went back. I see y'all in the chat. I see y'all. Y'all playing around in class, you know. But I'm telling you, stop playing around in class. I see y'all. I see you. But nevertheless, so where we at now, we're going to bring it up a bit. And what we're going to bring it up to is now it's time to show and prove how Marcus Garvey relates to the Moorish Science Temple of America. And that's where my brother Lasana Tunica Ill was taking us. It is reported that Marcus Garvey made a statement, and I'm reading from a quote of Marcus Garvey. It says, if the enemy could only know that Marcus Garvey is but a John the Baptist in the wilderness, that a greater and more dangerous Marcus Garvey is yet to appear. The Garvey with whom you will have to reckon for the injustice of the present generation. Do you get me? I'm going to say it one more again. All right? There we go. If the enemy could only know that Marcus Garvey is but a John the Baptist in the wilderness. Now I'm going to break this down like I'm in the temple. A lot of people don't want to believe in the stories in the Bible. A lot of people say, man, throw that quote unquote white man book away. Yet we run around with the banner of the red, white, and green, and Marcus Garvey is known to learn how to give his oration from a Baptist preacher. True indeed. He went to a church and he heard how the preacher was demonstrating, and that's how he began to demonstrate, not in literal teaching of a Baptist preacher, but I'm talking about swag and style. You understand what I'm saying? So, Marcus Garvey is known to relate himself as John the Baptist. Then he goes on to say that a greater and more dangerous Marcus Garvey is yet to appear. See, one thing about our people, we truly think that when we think a more dangerous Marcus Garvey, y'all talking about some physical danger. Now we talking about a spiritual thing, because we know that John the Baptist said that the man who come after me, he gonna baptize you in fire. fire. He was known to walk down the street with that flaming red fez. Huh? Hold up. So we talk about Marcus Garvey equating himself to John the Baptist. Now, he said that, the Prophet Noble Drew Ali, he comes back and say that Marcus Garvey is the John the Baptist. That's just what he said. That's what both of them said. Now, my problem is, why can't we believe our forefathers, our ancestors? You ain't got to call him your prophet. He come from the blood from which you came. But guess what? If a European tell us something that refutes what our brother, our ancestor, our forefather tell us, we go with it hook, line, and sinker. I heard one brother say, "You can't tell me nothing if you can't have if you don't have a PhD." But our forefather, our brother from the same blood, the same source, tell us something and we don't want to roll with it. Anyway, as it goes on, Marcus Garvey goes on to say that the Garvey with whom you will have to reckon for the injustice of the present generation. And here we go. Prophet Noble Drew Ali. He comes to us. He comes to us, changing the whole dynamic of how we see ourselves. Not only do he change the whole dynamic of how we see ourselves, he puts us back in accord with the families of nation, meaning that no matter where you go in the world, everybody subscribe to the principle of tribes, nations. Oh, hold up. Rewind. Tribes, hold up. Families, tribes, and nations. No matter where you go in the world. No matter where you go in the world, you got families, tribes, nations. I don't care where you go. You may look at somebody with a loincloth in South America. He said, "Man, look how they living. Man, these people crazy. Look at them." Oh, no, these are just natural people. Look how they living so naturally. They go from family, tribes, and build nations. So here comes Prophet Noble Drew Ali, bringing us back into the families of nation. And why is it so hard for us to get it? I don't know. Makes really common sense to me. Like, why do we have to fight each other so much about something that's so basic? Go anywhere in the Himalayas, away from society, you will see the same thing. They're going to group up as a family, then a tribe, and they might even flourish and turn into a nation. Anywhere you go, we the only people that want to be scattered, as it says in the Bible. We want to be scattered and don't want to have a cohesive unit. So the Prophet Noble Drew Ali came to fulfill what Marcus Garvey laid down. He prepared the way. So with that being said, my brother Ali Bey, what I want to get into now is, how can we make the connection between Marcus Garvey and Prophet Noble Drew Ali? Or my brother Tunica, can you elaborate on that more? One of us needs to elaborate more on how this connection is made. I think
yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But let's do it. Let's touch on it real hard, because some people try to say that. This is my problem. Some people try to say, well, Marcus Garvey never met Prophet Noble Drew Ali. Drew Ali never met Marcus Garvey. They come with all of this stuff without research. Without research, they say all of these things. They try to separate the mission. They try to separate the principle. They even try to separate the two people. So my brother, let's try to make the connection and make it clear so that people can understand. Come on, Ali Bey, the floor is yours, my brother.
Yeah, let Tunica L go in on that.
Brother Tunica L.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Can you elaborate on that? Because yes, like I said, it's the thing is that our people always looking for the divide, the division. We always try to, I'm talking about our people, our Asiatic brothers, our Asiatic sisters. We want to quick to say, well, show me how Marcus Garvey met Noble Drew Ali, or Noble Drew Ali met Marcus Garvey. But my point always been, whether they did or didn't, which they did mean, but whether they did or didn't, we're looking at the principle of a thing that's more important than the actual physical meeting of two people.
Indeed.
We're looking at the principle of a thing.
Yes, sir. Yes,
That
sir.
is going to take us to the next level. So, brother, please touch on that for a minute, my brother.
Yes, sir. I think the point needs to be made, Brother Tahaka, that this viewpoint is in the Holy Quran or the Moorish Science Temple of America. This is our viewpoint. This is how we see Marcus Garvey. And we don't have to prove that to anyone, but let's share with them the rationale for why we view Garvey as such. There's a rationale behind it. We're not trying to prove it to you, because for one thing, you're not one of us. You know, this is the Moorish American Muslim view of Marcus Garvey. And let me also just say that Marcus Garvey is considered such in the Rastafarian community as well, as a John the Baptist type for Haile Selassie in that instance. So you have his Jamaican family, Rastafarians, then you have his American family, Moorish Americans, who both see him as a John the Baptist type, archetype, as it relates to his prophethood and heralding the coming prophet. Reading from page 17, again from Brother A. Hopkins Bay's book, chapter 3, The Divine Exodus to the Moorish Science Temple of America. Starting where it says, immediately following the deportation of Marcus Garvey, there was a mass exodus of those who were members of the Universal Negro Improvement Association into the Moorish Science Temple of America. Many former UNIA members rose to prominent positions of authority in the Moorish Science Temple of America. In fact, the past Grand Sheikh of Moorish Science Temple number 11 in Philadelphia, Brother G. Moss Bay, was reported to have been a UNIA member under the leadership of Marcus Garvey, as well as Brother C. Barker Bay, past Grand Mufti of the Moorish Science Temple of America. In an article that appeared in the Moorish American Voice newspaper, December 1980 issue, an interview of Brother C. Barker Bay was published. A portion of the article stated, quoting, Brother C. Barker Bay started working with Marcus Garvey in 1920. He marched with Garvey in the first parade in Madison Square Garden in New York City. Brother Barker Bay worked with Marcus Garvey until 1925. This is when he joined the Moorish Science Temple of America. Another article that appeared in the Moorish American Voice newspaper, September, October, November 1988 issue, actually reported that Brother C. Barker Bay bore witness to additional encounters of Marcus Garvey and Prophet Noble Drew Ali. The editorial stated, Brother C. Barker Bay has given long and faithful service to the Moorish Science Temple of America and to the Garvey movement before his joining the MST of A. Brother Barker Bay was at the convention that Mr. Garvey held in New York City, and he stated that he accompanied Mr. Garvey when Mr. Garvey met with the Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali in a park in New York City to sit and talk. These and scores of other former members of the UNIA were now primed by Marcus Garvey for the core principle laden teachings of the Holy and Divine Prophet Noble Drew Ali, just as John the Baptist primed the people to receive the divine creed which was taught by Jesus. Matthew 17, 10 and 13. Now here's the Brother C. Barker Bay. Born in November 1888, Temptonville, Tennessee. This diligent brother worked alongside Marcus Garvey and bore witness to Marcus Garvey having meetings with Holy Prophet Noble Drew Ali in the park. After the subsequent deportation of Garvey, Brother Barker Bay entered the Moorish Science Temple of America and later was elevated to the position of Grand Mufti of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Now, so let's just use this Brother C. Barker Bay to substantiate the view that Marcus Garvey was the forerunner to the prophet, that he was a John the Baptist type to the prophet's Jesus type. archetype. He was a proud member of the Garvey movement. He attended that convention that we already read about that happened in New York City, where the UNIA had risen to over 4 million members. He was in that movement with Garvey. Garvey was deported. Many of the UNIA members joined the Moorish Science Temple of America. So for those members, Marcus was the forerunner of the prophet because they were part of Marcus's movement, then became a part of Noble Drew Ali's movement.
Makes sense.
So just from that simple reasoning to those brothers and sisters who lived that experience, Garvey was John the Baptist and the prophet was Jesus, just as he said it was. So it's true that he was the forerunner of the prophet in the Moorish Science Temple of America. Given not, we can go ideologically and demonstrate that, again, much of what Garvey, Arnold Ford, Blyton, much of what these brothers were begging Allah for, praying for someone to come with this Quran of economic welfare as well as moral welfare, etc. Noble Drew Ali manifested that prayer with the program that he demonstrated via the founding of the Moorish Science Temple of America. Garvey incorporated the UNIA, Noble Drew Ali incorporated the Moorish Science Temple of America. He gave us a scripture. He gave us laws. He demonstrated an economic and political program. He laid the foundation for a Moorish colony on our own land. He had the young Muslim leads for the youth. He built businesses and schools for the community. So all those tenets or checklists, if you will, of what prophethood is, Noble Drew Ali fulfilled. Just from a factual perspective, even if you're not looking at it from a religious perspective. If you compare and contrast the tenets of prophethood and you study the lives of prior prophets and compare and contrast with the program of Noble Drew Ali, you will see it's consistent. And we already demonstrated a couple of weeks ago, he being the Egyptian adept student who eventually proclaimed his prophethood after receiving said prophet degree, which that was a degree in the mystery school. So it's not anything spooky, otherworldly. It's real. It's flesh. You know what I'm saying? As far as that's concerned. So I just wanted to try to add some clarity to that for those who might misunderstand and who are judging the literature of the Moorish Science Temple of America from an outsider's perspective and a very uninformed perspective on the facts as it relates to Marcus Garvey and the Prophet Noble Drew Ali.
Islam. Oh, my brother. Brother Ali, come on, brother. Time on in, my brother.
Nah, Grimion L is back on. Let Grimion go on.
All right.
Islam. Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Adib, praise a lot more. I beg your forgiveness. Just having some issues on my part between work and some technical issues as well. But I know the brothers basically broke that demonstration down. Follow up on where I left off in regards to Arnold Josiah Ford, and I know Brother Ali Ban Tunica L probably touched on this, but in its relation to Islam, I left off at the Ethiopian, the Universal Ethiopian Anthem, and inside the Universal Ethiopian Anthem, the brother Arnold Josiah Ford put the words Allahu Akbar, which means Allah is the greatest, in one of the titles of the hymns of the UNIA. So, in a particular record that I was going in, Islam and the African American Experience, they had other pieces that made similar references, like quote unquote, may he our rights proclaim in that most sacred name, Allah, one God, one aim, one destiny, Father of all creation, Allah omnipotent, supreme over every nation. God bless our president from the murderous Cain, whose vengeful mood a doctrine cursed preferred to spill or drink his brother's blood when love is in Allah's word. So, it goes on and on. And by the way, this brother Arnold Josiah Ford, if you Google him and you Google a picture of him, this brother was a Moorish Hebrew. And this brother was a Hebrew rabbi. So basically, to me, in my own personal opinion, this solidifies the relationship between the Moors and the Hebrew Israelites, and that those brothers were the earliest Hebrew Israelites, if you will, that appeared in America during that time. And those people also claim to be Moorish. So that shows basically how we are all family in that regard. So,
Right.
I just wanted to touch on that. So, you got the relationship between Deuce Muhammad Ali, his parents, Deuce Muhammad Ali touching the life of Marcus Garvey. Marcus Garvey and his early followers making those particular statements in a partial preference towards Islam. As a matter of fact, in the minutes of the UNIA, one of the first that some of the members of the UNIA put the proposal that that Islam, if you will, should be the religion of the Asiatic race. We know they were using the word Negro at the time, but they said that Islam should be the religion of this particular race. And, Marcus Garvey didn't rebuff it. He said we need serious discussion on this actual topic as far as Islam. But what Marcus Garvey at that particular time, he didn't want to get into a quarrel in that regard. So basically, they kept the UNIA as a universalist type of movement in regard to religion, but they paid real close attention to Islam around the African world, if you will. So we just put those things together, and if you will, just give me 1 second here. I just want to discuss one more thing in that regard.
With
So,
the influences of brothers like Deuce Muhammad Ali, as well as Edward Wilmot Blyden, both of whom have very strong Islamic
ties. That's
Yes,
right.
indeed.
Right. Exactly. So, we can go on, with this, forever and ever, so, it don't really make, in an appeal to our brothers in the RBG movement, if Garvey had this reverence toward Islam and a reverence towards a Muslim teacher, then, I would have to ask your question. I mean, what truly is your problem when the father of the red, black, and green flag that was put together in 1920 in the plebiscite of the African race, what problem would you have with your Muslim brother or your brother in the MSTFA when Marcus Garvey had relations? Oh, as a matter of fact, before I forget to mention, in the archives of the Moorish Science Temple of America, from what I am told, I never seen it with my own eyes, but I was told by one of my brothers that's in the possession of Supreme Grand Sheikh Braswell Bey. They have Emily L's membership in an organization that was founded in the time by Deuce Muhammad Ali, and they say that they have stock certificates that Emily L had bought into some of Deuce Muhammad Ali's businesses. So all of this stuff in some form or fashion ties in together. So I mean, I don't know if that particular record will see the light of day, is, according to my opinion, but know that that record of the relationship between Emily L and Deuce Muhammad Ali does exist. And just going back into I want to give some references in that regard. In You go back to the January 29th, 1922, Marcus Garvey papers in regards to those references to Allah, the Liberty Hall speech of November 5th, 1922, and the UNIA convention of August 5th, 1924. Also, uh, in regards to the reference to Allah being the God Most High that Marcus Garvey made an appeal to in one of his speeches, you can look at Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, page 412. Again, that's the Philosophy and Opinions of Marcus Garvey, page 12. And so, with that being said, brothers, I mean, I don't even know what more I could add to what Brother Tunica L said in relationship to Garvey and the Moorish Science Temple of America. I can only add, that Mr. Garvey, didn't have a hostile uh idea towards the concept of Islam, and they included, Islamic symbolism, if you will, and Islamic verbiage into the UNIA
And references,
references.
just
And
like
let me
when you
let me
mentioned.
read this. Let me
Go ahead, bro.
read
Go ahead.
this more. I apologize. Um, this here is from uh this is from the article that was written by some of Marcus Garvey's followers. It says, apart from confederation of the tribes of the African tribes or peoples of African origin, the possibility of which is a nightmare to the white man, he lives in fear and trembling that El Islam may become the religion of the Negro. And why should it not be? Question asked. El Islam will be a wonderful spiritual force in the life of the colored races, uniting us in a bond of common sympathy and interest. So, you know, I mean, it just keeps going on and on, in that regard to this relation. So basically, what Tunica L was saying is that this thing was opening up, and all of these things were tying in and opening up a way to make a opening for the founding, or the being the harbinger or the forerunner. These things were being opened up before our people in that regard. I'm sorry, brother Ali. Go ahead.
No, I was just going to reiterate that when you look at the national anthem,
Mute your mic, brother. Go on ahead.
yeah, I was going to reiterate that when you look at the national anthem of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, um, and what they're talking about, considering the time period that they're coming out of, with reference to red, black, and green specifically, is very apparent when you read the history of the Maktis Sudan state and the fight that they were having, and the fact that they were carrying the black, red, and green banner as they were fighting against British Egypt, and were successful in their campaigns against British Egypt. Um, and then and if you look at if you look at the verses inside of this particular national anthem of the UNIA, you'll see that what they're actually singing about is the war that took place in the Sudan between the Maktis Sudan and British Egypt. They're actually talking about this particular war. They're describing it. The fact that the people carried the red, the black, and the green into war and were victorious. They're describing this particular war that already took place in the late 1800s. So again, when we talk about Deuce Muhammad Ali and his influence, when you read through his papers, you'll start to see, as he's breaking down one of the pieces I was reading from. Hold on one second. I'm gonna tell you right now. One of the pieces I was reading from pertaining to Deuce Muhammad Ali was his biography. That's one. The other piece was a piece called "The Development of Pan-Africanism" that was published by a man named Ian Duffield for the Edinburgh University in October of 1971. So between that and when you go into the Marcus Garvey and Universal Negro Improvement Association papers, where you will find the actual anthem, you can see, based on the time period, when you keeping everything in context, what was happening in Africa, and the fact that they kept referencing Africa, and even the national anthem itself for the UNIA references Africa, and this red, black, and green flag being carried into battle. They're talking about the battle between the Mahdiya and British Egypt. That's what they're talking about. This is the foundation. This is Deuce Muhammad Ali talking very affectionately about the victories of the Ansar in Sudan, okay, and the fighting that they undertook against these British forces in the Sudan. So it's easy to see when you put it into context, the origin of the red, black, and green, just bringing it back to the actual theme of the show, where this comes from, where it comes from. And I just wanted to reiterate that because I think we really, in terms of the whole anti-Islamic sentiment and element that exists within the conscious community, we have to let them know, all of the people who are carrying this red, black, and green banner need to understand its Islamic origin and where it comes from, who it was that carried it, and it is the flag of a rebel force with people who created an Islamic state in the Sudan.
Islam. Now I'm coming back in. I'm coming back in one again.
Oh.
I don't usually do this, but I'm gonna do it for my friend. Nah, Islam family. Look, check this out. I'm going to step outside my host demonstration for a second, and I want to share something with you. I want to read something from the philosophies and opinions of Marcus Garvey. I want to read something to you, family, real quick. The reason why I want to read something to you, because I want to show you something as it relates to us making something happen. As I say all the time, the object is for us to come together. You don't have to agree with me. That's why when I say I rise, give praise to Allah, I let you know that Allah is a title, but the title has a principle that is infinite, that crosses lines of all cultures. The principle, the causeless cause, the rootless root. Anyway, here we go. Page 36. Y'all see that? 36. Of the philosophies and opinions of Marcus Garvey. Now, y'all with me? Y'all with me, class? Let's go. The title of this is called Great Ideals, No Nationality. I'm going to say it again. Great Ideals, No Nationality. All right. Marcus Garvey states, my enemies in America have done much to hold me up to public contempt and ridicule, but have failed. They believe that the only resort is to stir up national prejudice against me, and that I was not born within the borders of the United States of America. I am not in least concerned about such propaganda, because I have traveled the length and the breadth of America, and I have discovered that among the 15 million of my race, stop there, Marcus Garvey came all the way from Jamaica and understand the unity that he has with his people that was born here in America. Let's go on. Only those who have exploited and live off the ignorance of the masses are concerned with where I was born. The masses of the people are looking for leadership. They desire sincere, honest guidance in racial affairs. As proof of this, I may mention that the largest number of the members of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, of which I am president and general, are to be found in America and are native-born Americans. I know these people so well, and I love them so well, that I would not for 1 minute think that they would fall for such insidious propaganda. All intelligent people, listen, all intelligent people know that one's nationality has nothing to do with great ideals and great principles. Let me stop right there. Marcus Garvey is telling us that intelligent people know that one's nationality has nothing to do with great ideals and great principles. If the Moorish American Muslim has a great program, a great plan that can bring a cohesiveness, a uniformity to take us as a group of people to the next level, why not try in some way attach yourself? Be within the number. Nobody say, see, I think we get mixed up and get lost in translation. You think I want you put on the fez, don't you? You think I want you put on the turban, don't you? What I really want you to do is to support the ideal that we are a group of people and that we need your vote and to make things happen. We need every one of us. Marcus Garvey said, regardless of basically what I'm calling myself or where I was born or where I was from or what I connect myself to, if it's a great idea, for God's sakes, it's a great idea. Nationality, nation is a great idea. It's just a great idea. China as a nation is a great idea. It's just a great idea. I mean, I can't say it no clearer than that. When the United States of America was founded and they broke away from Europe, they seen themselves as a nation. It was a great idea. This is what the Moorish American is trying to say. We are a nation of people. It's a damn good idea. Excuse my expression. It's just a good idea. Why wouldn't you want to attach yourself to a great idea? You don't see yourself one day as the French in their nation, as Nigeria has their nation, as forget what's going on and forget what they perpetuate under these names. Or forget the colonization. Don't you see yourself as a great nation? It's just a great idea. Let me read on. If because I am a Jamaican, the Negro should not accept the principles of race, rights, and liberty, or the ideal of a free, independent race, then you may well say that because Jesus was a Nazarene, the outside world should not accept his doctrine of Christianity because he was an alien. Context, people. Don't be come back telling me Jesus was no Christian. It's context. Context.
Yeah, that's important, brother.
Context.
Jesus is not a Christian.
Yeah, but context. I'm trying to get the context. We know Jesus wasn't no Christian, but with the point that Marcus Garvey is trying to put, we have to put it in context, people. We are an intelligent people. Now, let me go on. Because Martin Luther was born in Germany, the world should not accept his doctrine of a Protestant. Because Alexander Hamilton and Lafayette were not born in America, Americans should not accept and appreciate the benefits they bestowed upon the nation. Because Marconi was an Italian, we of the New World should not make ourselves wireless telegraphy, whatever. Again, I say, great principles, great ideas, no nationality. Great principle, great principles, great ideas, no nationality. We as a group, as a nation of people is a great idea. Who else is trying to establish us as a nation of people? As it relates to a real nation of people with laws, with principle, with culture. Where? It's just a great idea. We should be able to look down the road 25 years from now and go from a block growing into a district, growing into the whole city, from coast to coast. It has to start somewhere. When are we going to start it? I'm trying to start it here in Baltimore. I keep begging y'all to come to the temple. Come on to the temple. Ain't nobody going to Allahu Akbar you to death. What I'm trying to do is put some civics up into your mind as it relates for us putting our boots on the ground, our tennis shoes on the ground, our sneakers on the ground, and making something happen. I ain't talking about shuffling no paperwork, civics. That has its place. But what I'm talking about is bringing the people together. Nationality is just a good idea. Now, out of this last 15-minute segment, in this last 15-minute segment, I want to say this. And it's the elephant in the room. We have got to address it for a second. Because we have a lot of people in the world that believes the hype of Facebook, of YouTube, and all of these other social media outlets, that RBG has something to do with being a gangster. I'm here to tell you that RBG, red, black, and green, the birth of it was not about being a gangster as it relates to being a criminal. Just not what it is. As adopted by Marcus Garvey, people say I'm RBG. Show you this. This is the Royal African Guard. Did you organize any brothers like the Royal African Guard? You screaming RBG, have you organized any brothers to look sharp like the Royal African Guard? All right. Have you bought a riverboat and put it with the Black Star Line? Screaming Black Power, quote unquote. Have you bought a riverboat? They got some old ones. I'm pretty sure Tunica Hill got some people down south that can help you with that. Grimion Hill, somebody can help you. I'm pretty sure they from down there where them riverboats do they thing, But have you bought something that can be an investment to advance us as a group of people? We yelling this stuff. What we doing? Huh?
Hey, brother.
Yes.
I have something I would love to read.
Real quick. I got you, my brother, and you can take it away. Do you got a building? This is the Black Star Line building. That's the office. There you go. Right. What are you doing? We screaming Black Power, quote unquote. We screaming RBG, but we ain't building a doggone thing. I say got doggone thing. We got to stop playing with this thing. Brother Ali Bey, come on in, my brother.
I have a question for you, bro.
Yes, sir.
What are the principles of the Moorish Science Temple of America? Can you let the people know?
The principle, the 5 highest principles known to man is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice, which are the principles of the Moorish Science Temple of America.
Now, let me read to you.
Let me say it one more time.
Go ahead, bro.
Because I like how you work. The principles of the Moorish Science Temple of America is love, truth, peace, freedom, and justice. And we call those the highest principles known to man. On you, Ali Bey.
All right. Now, in accordance with this, let's just read the principles of the Universal Negro Improvement Association from 1922. This is a speech given in New York City on November 25th, 1922. Marcus Garvey explains the objectives of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, the organization he believed would lead the worldwide movement toward Black liberation. He says, over 5 years ago, the Universal Negro Improvement Association placed itself before the world as the movement through which the new and rising Negro would give expression of his feelings. This association adopts an attitude not of hostility to other races and peoples of the world, but an attitude of self-respect, of manhood rights on behalf of 400 million Negroes of the world. We represent peace, harmony, love, human sympathy, human rights, and human justice. And that is why we fight so much. Wheresoever human rights are denied to any group, wheresoever justice is denied to any group, there the UNIA finds a cause. And at this time, among all the peoples of the world, the group that suffers most from injustice, the group that is denied most of those rights that belong to all humanity, is the Black group of 400 million. Because of that injustice, because of that denial for our rights, we go forth under the leadership of the one who is always on the side of right to fight the common cause of humanity. Now, that to me sounds more in line with what the Moorish Science Temple is destined to do than anything else. We represent peace, harmony, love, human sympathy, human rights, and human justice. And that is why we fight so much. This is what Marcus Mosiah Garvey said. This is what he said. They're not here. He didn't establish this organization to attack other groups of people. He said, wheresoever justice is denied to any group, there the UNIA finds a cause. Any group. So all of these people who have adopted the red, black, and green flag of the Universal Negro Improvement Association, these are the principles that they stood on. Why do you feel the need to attack other people? That's not in line with the principles of this particular organization. And if you're not in line with the principles of this organization, why are you carrying that flag?
That's right. Yep. And I just want to speak on that real quick in that regard, and at the rise of a certain individual, I don't want to say their name, but they basically took that flag and they basically uh energized, if you will, a whole bunch of people, you know, uh, uh, that's not mature enough, almost savages, and they basically wrapped them in that flag, and everybody fell in with that little hype when they was, hollering and screaming on the Moors and all of that kind of stuff. A lot of people fail with that. So now you got these people out here calling themselves RBG thugs and RBG thugs for life and all of that kind of stuff, man. But those people, they were very, very civilized people, the original founders, and even still to the day, and that's the thing, man. The UNIA still exists to this day, even though it's not uh, even though it's not a large organization like it once was, it still exists. Go join them folks and learn what it really about to be in the UNIA instead of flying that flag and not being a part of no organization. Join the Moorish Science Temple of America and let's carry this thing on. So, that's where I'm at with it, brother, man. I'm not going to say too much more. I know you brothers covered it all. I'm going to just say peace and that we all family. But there's no such thing as a RBG thug.
Islam. My brother Tunica L, come on, my brother. Come on in the chat, brother.
Yes,
We're
sir.
going to
Yes,
wrap
sir.
this up real soon, brother. So come on with me, brother.
Indeed. Yeah, everyone definitely been demonstrating some heavy measures more. I've enjoyed it myself and learning from the brethren. But let's just say Dead Prayers popularized the idea of the RBG, and they defined it as revolutionary but gangster. And that was articulated the RBG ethos or the RBG prototype was articulated through that album of the same name, RBG, Revolutionary but Gangster. Now, I see RBG as a type of Sparta. Sparta, the whole nation was soldiers and militaristic. And I see the RBG as articulated by Dead Prayers in that album, which gave form to a lot of people claiming that as their identity. And music can do that. I remember it was times in my life where the songs of Bob Marley was like scriptures that I lived by. So it's Dead Prayers album and the first album as well, you know, had an impact on the quote unquote conscious community that shaped a lot of the identities that I don't think really has been given the props that it deserves and the impact that it had. But having said that, I kind of went back through the album and picked out the principles, because we're about the principles. We know principles change forms and have different coverings depending upon culture, time, and climate, but the principles remain the same. So, you know, I went back through the album, listened to some of the tracks and see what Dead Prayers, how they were defining this thing. And it's some great principles. Some of them being from the Don't Forget song, like a little excerpt that they had to start it off. It says, be true to yourself. That's aligned with us. Man, know thyself and his Father God Allah. For what? God and Allah are one.
Mm-hmm.
Family first. Organization.
Mm-hmm.
Being productive. Each one teach one. That's just the first intro. I went to Hell Yeah. It was like struggles of the underclass. Love for the people. Inspiration as you strive economically. W4, entrepreneurship. We don't vote. Now, we definitely don't agree with that. But you see where the origin of some of these ideas come from.
Mm-hmm.
Walk like a warrior, self-defense training, physical training, learning the martial arts, weapons training. All that's legal.
Uh-huh.
DOW down. Start a clothes drive for the poor. Discipline. Military minded. Hope for the best, prepare for the worst. Prepare an example for your youth. Chain of command. That speaks also to what? Organization. Finally, the track that I looked at is called Way of Life. And the principles I pulled out of Way of Life was lengthy. Running, stretching, katas, martial arts again, spiritual growth, the path or the Tao, the way, the journey, focus, active, trial and error, the science of breath, meditation, love, mind, body, and spirit action, staying committed, nutrition, herbology, the laws of physics, camaraderie, the vow of humility, the bow, the courtesy. That's RBG according to Dead Prayers. When you strip the fat off and cut it down to the principles, Islam. And that all those principles so named, other than we don't vote, are not inconsistent with the principles that Moorish American Muslims live by.
Right. With that being said, I just want to make a clarification in that regard. And when I said the thing about the RBG thugs, I wasn't making a accusation towards those particular individuals, but I was making an accusation. The second, basically phase of that outbreak, by SETI, when they started their whole RBG, thug demonstration, if you will. So, and the brother Tunica L was 100% right in regard to, what the
Indeed,
guys from Dead Prayers were basically representing.
indeed, more because the point being made is it's the same thing that we're doing. We're going back to the roots of what the Moorish Science Temple of America is through the prophet. We're going back to the root of it. These organizations have to do the same because often the time the organizations and flags that ones claim came out of some pure intent. Even the Crips was like a Black Panther protect the neighborhood type organization in its birth. So it's like all these organizations have to return to their founding pure principles. That's the only way they're going to prosper and expand. All that noise means absolutely nothing. It's the principles in action that's going to manifest real institutions, man. Islam.
Islam. Any closing words? Any closing words, my brothers? We hitting the 10:30 hour. Any closing words, family?
Hey, brother. Again, gratitude for having me on. I really learned a lot from the brothers. Hopefully people have been tuned in and listening intently. We love all the people, and the Prophet Noble Drew Ali is a continuation of a story that we have to insert into our historical narrative. Praise Allah.
Islam.
Islam.
Brother Ali Bey?
Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed, bro. Yeah, I just want to say also I enjoyed the show. I'm glad that we did it, and maybe we can talk about it at a later date a little bit more. Just to go into it. Maybe we can enough of it tonight. I don't know, but I think it was a necessary show, and hopefully, as was already stated, hopefully people actually walked away with something of value and can look at things a little bit different in terms of Islam. And I know that a lot of anti-Islamic elements. And for me, this was one of the reasons why I wanted to participate. That the very flag that they're carrying has Islamic origins, and for them to be aware of that it's not the enemy, and that it was used by many peoples for the purpose of unification in order to advance the group as a whole. So I just want to say that.
Islam. Brother Grimion, any parting words, my brother?
Indeed. I just want everybody to basically see, how all of this stuff is related, just based upon the references that I gave, the references that I made, and Tunica, all of this stuff is related, and how we really all family, and there's no need for all of the the gang banging from on each other, in regards to that side of the nation, and basically peace. That's all I have to say. Peace and love.
And what I gotta say in some departing words is this: what we have to realize as a group of people, that nothing is going to change if we have any division in our heart. We don't have to think alike or see the world alike. But one thing we have to do alike is support each other as it relates to our liberation. How do we do that? If you screaming Black Power, and I think what you are doing is going to help and liberate us, count me in. If I'm doing something on the Moorish side that you think can help liberate us, you should be counted in. A friend of mine, and I'm gonna be promoting him real hard because he's on the front line, call himself the General P, PFK Boom. You'll start seeing him more and more on Moorish World. Not for the radical approach as he approached the people that's in power. Not for that, but because of some of his ideas. We was at a meeting and he believed in the quote unquote Black Power degree. That's why a person can't tell me because I don't yell Black Power that we can't work together. We was working together last night. We was working together last night at a council meeting for those that was running for city council in Baltimore. It was a debate. So don't try to teach the people, because I ain't yelling Black Power, that I can't work with my brother who subscribed to what they call Black Power. Because this brother is really subscribing to what they call Black Power, but he's on the front line. Let me tell you what this brother said. So profound to me, the brother asked a question to one of the candidates that was running for city council in 9th District in Baltimore. He asked if those people that are incarcerated at the county jail and the city jail level, we need to find a way to get them a piece of paper so they can write their vote in, because they have yet to be convicted. Because they vote count too.
It's a fact.
This is what the y'all look at a brother that y'all want to say that's a G, that's connected to a set. This was the profound thing that he asked the candidate. How can we make this happen? And he yells Black Power. It's my brother. So don't y'all sit up there and let somebody tell you that fake old lie, because somebody like me, a Moorish American, don't yell Black Power, that I can't work with my brother who are really doing something, not looking for a YouTube view. Don't tell me that. Y'all trying to entertain people. That's all. When that brother called me, he salute. I'm Islam, peace and love, family. Salute, King. Salute, King. Not one time do my brother say, brother, you ain't gonna say Black Power? Salute, King. Brother, I'm on Elamont. I'm on my way. Salute, King. Y'all playing, man. Y'all playing, man. So let's stop playing. Let's stop playing. If we gonna get this work done, we gonna get this work done. If we gonna entertain for a speech in some little back room, then go ahead and entertain with that. If you're going to entertain for your YouTube guy, go ahead and entertain with that. But don't try to divide the people talking about because I don't do this or I don't do that. Man, we on the ground trying to get some work done. And as I read in the little speech from Marcus Garvey, brother, a great idea is just a great idea. Working together is a great idea. Whether you love Nile Valley culture, whether I love Moorish history and culture, when we wake up and look out our window and we go to the water cooler at our jobs or whatever type of profession that we have, and we have to interact with other groups of people, we know that oppression is alive and well. That prejudice is alive and well. And one of the worst ones is the one we have against one another. Let's work together, family. And with that, I'm going to say peace and love. I'm out. Sorry the show started late. I don't know what Satan, devil, dragon, beast are up to messing with this live stream. But he already said he's going to and fro the earth, seeking whom he may devour. So I'm on point. I know he's coming anyway. You know what I mean? So we're going to work with him and try to choke him out. You know what I mean? His time is out. But we're going to get him. Keep on messing with that live stream. Peace and love, family. Stick with it, family. And we're going to make this right. Next show, we're going in on some deep lessons. Not sure what the topic is. I am sure. I know what the topic is. But I ain't going to announce it yet. Peace and love. I love you, family. Peace out.